Right now, we are going to go on and talk with Sam Amico of Fox Sports Ohio and FoxSportsOhio.com. Sam, how are we doing today?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing great. Just talking about the NBA draft, the selection of Andrew Wiggins. Now, let's go ahead and get into it, Sam. Overall, the Cavs selected Andrew Wiggins. When would you say the Cavs officially made the decision to draft Wiggins?
I think they made it over the weekend leading up to the draft. Actually, 4 days before, we're pretty sold on him. I just think, when they added everything up, when you included the college basketball season, his upside, the dynamic ability to finish on the break, and a guy who can really guard, as David Griffin said, three positions, point guard, small forward, and shooting guard. I think that was the decision probably 4 or 5 days ago.
Okay, and also, how close were the Cavaliers to trading the pick?
I don't think they came too close, to be real honest with you. They had a couple opportunities. The Sixers kept adding stuff. First they started with, we heard all the rumors, and they were right on 3-10 and Thaddeus Young, and then that wasn't enough, so they offered 3-10 and their second-round pick and next year's first-rounder. And ultimately, I think, because here's the thing, the Cavs didn't want to add the 4 or 5 more young players, but I think they came fairly close a couple of times, but just said, you know what, let's just add one real dynamic guy as opposed to adding, 3 more rookies or 2 more rookies and another young small forward in Thaddeus Young, who really may just be nothing more than a nice player on a bad team.
Was there ever a point where the Cavs tried to trade back into the draft?
Yeah, they tried to trade their second rounder to get back into the first round, that number 33 pick. We saw the deal with Alonzo G. I think they tried to offer that 33 and Alonzo G to move back up into the first round of the early 20s, and just were denied that, unable to do that. So they ended up, of course, making that deal with Charlotte, which hasn't been announced yet, but trading Alonzo G to Charlotte for the center Brendan Haywood and the 45th pick, which was Dwight Powell.
Sam, I got a question for you. We all took some heat last year for our pick of Bennett, but let me ask your opinion. What was Philadelphia thinking this year?
Well, I think Philadelphia is hoping to get a guy on one good leg between Noel and Embiid. But, I mean, honestly, if those two guys heal up okay, then you have a Twin Towers sort. I'm not real sure what they were thinking with Dario Saric making that deal. It's surprising to me because, how long do you want to wait until you're good? Or at least, in the East, that's the thing, is it doesn't take major moves to all of a sudden be in the playoff race. I mean, Toronto was the number 3 seed, so, I'm not sure what they're thinking, but maybe Sam Hinkie has something else up his sleeve. I just think that, hey, if Embiid pans out, that's a nice pick, but you're going to have to wait until January or February for him, and who knows what he'll be like as a rookie coming back then. So I guess they're just willing to wait. They'll be back in this spot next year. Everything stays the same.
And we're talking with Sam Amico of Fox Sports Ohio and FoxSportsOhio.com. Now, Sam, I just wanted to ask quickly, going back to Andrew Wiggins, a lot of people were talking about his upside, his athleticism, his defense. Which one of those 3 things I just mentioned was the turning point that the Cavs ultimately decided to take him over Jabari Parker?
Well, I think they liked the fact that he was a little more of a complete package. There's just the things you mentioned. Jabari Parker, I think, is going to be a really good scorer in the NBA, and I think he's probably, hey, just a wild guess, but I think Jabari Parker is probably your front runner for Rookie of the Year because you think about it, he's on a worse team than the Cavs. The Cavs won 33 games last year. Some of them were really ugly, and some of the losses were bad, but the bottom line is they won 33 games. They're a lot closer than Milwaukee. Milwaukee doesn't have anybody like Kyrie Irving or Dion Waiters. They don't have those guys. So Jabari Parker's going to put up a lot of points right away next year, and is going to be their go-to guy. Andrew Wiggins is going to come in, and I think that's what they like about him, is that he's going to kind of ease into the role and not have to be the number 1 option right away. They'll have, obviously, Kyrie Irving, and let's assume Dion Waiters stays. Those guys are bigger options. And I think, okay, well, here's a guy who's not ball dominant, like Jabari Parker kind of is. That's not a negative. It's just that's the difference in style of play between the two. So Wiggins is not ball dominant. He's a much better wing defender and the athleticism too. So I think those three things, adding that up, is better than just the one guy who's going to score 20 points, not really defend that well, not really rebound that well. Parker is what he is. He's a automatic scorer, and Wiggins is more of a complete package and a better athlete.
And overall, when David Griffin also alluded to this fact, on the defensive end, we know that Andrew Wiggins has the potential to guard 1s, 2s, and 3s in this league. When on the offensive end, David Griffin mentioned that he thinks Andrew Wiggins will find the most of his potential at the 2 playing shooting guard. Do you believe he'll stick to the shooting guard, or will he sort of kind of go to the small forward, especially with Luol Deng threatening to leave in free agency?
Yeah, I think that he'll start off at small forward. The one thing that we will learn quickly that I've noticed about David Blatt, just looking over some of the stuff that he's done, is positions aren't really a big deal. Positions only matter who you're defending, and I think he'll defend a lot of small forwards. As far as we could see, if Anthony Bennett has anything at all and could come around, we could see him as a starting power forward in this offense with Wiggins at small forward, Waiters at shooting guard, and Kyrie obviously at point, and then either probably Varejao out center with Tristan Thompson coming off the bench. That's just the way David Blatt kind of runs things. And if Bennett can give him can play power forward, that may be the route they can go because he's a little more offensively gifted than Tristan Thompson. I think that'll show in David Blatt's offense. So there's that possibility, but I think Wiggins either way will start off as small forward. As you said, I don't expect Luol Deng to be back except for the fact that he's not generating much buzz in free agency after struggling with the Cavs a little bit.
Speaking of free agency, it's only about a few days away. Is there anybody that the Cavs are targeting, big names or under-the-radar names that you know of?
Well, obviously, there's some LeBron James guy. I don't know how that's going to go. We're hearing the talk of, the way things are going to go in Miami. I've been leaning toward him going back to Miami for some time. But you know what? It's free agency, so I never believe anything until that contract is signed. But obviously, they'll if they're going to get Carmelo Anthony, it would have to probably be through a sign and trade. I don't think he's just going to sign here willingly. The thing is, the Cavs have enough to pay somebody that maximum contract, and if they were to do a sign and trade, they could get another max deal. So and then sign Kyrie over after that to the bird rights. But all those things are pipe dreams. I think in reality, right now, what you have to look at is okay, we've got Kyrie Irving, Dion Waiters, Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett, you hope, Tristan Thompson, and some of those other young pieces that, to me, on the right system, under the right coach, can be a young, exciting, very highly powered offensive team. And can they get another free? They'll make a run at Chandler Parsons, I can assure you that, who's a restricted free agent from Houston. And other than that, I'm not sure. That my guess is they probably try to re-sign Spencer Hawes. I know that they do have interest, and I know that he has interest. So there's that. But there aren't that many bigger names out in free agency that aren't older guys. Dirk Nowitzki, those type of guys. Pau Gasol. My guess is they'll make a run at Pau Gasol because they're going to have that super max contract available, and that's going to be appealing to some guys, particularly older guys like Gasol. If they don't use it, obviously, if you don't use it on LeBron, you still have it sitting there, and now all of a sudden that becomes appealing to people. So you might be able to get somebody. You don't want to overpay, but you might be able to get somebody pretty dynamic to help your team in free agency. And you know what, guys? On the website, I'll have a whole list and rankings of all the free agents. I hope to have it done by tomorrow morning.
Okay. And we're talking to Sam Amico from Fox Sports Ohio, and you can read that at foxsportsohio.com. And, Sam, I just wanted to quickly ask, you mentioned Spencer Hawes. What about Luol Deng? Is there any hope for the Cavs to re-sign him? There was a lot of talk that if they would hire Adrian Griffin from Chicago, he would stay. Is there any interest from either party to have him return to Cleveland?
Well, are you talking about Spencer Hawes? Or
Luol Deng. Luol Deng.
Oh, Deng. Yeah, I think the Cavs are open to that, and I don't know how Luol Deng stands. I think that the coaching change helps in that department both ways. As particularly, look, your numbers are going to go up under this guy, and the coach that we had before, your numbers were going to go down. And guys don't like it when their numbers go down. So I think that this will be maybe more appealing to Deng, and he may be more interested. Hey, look, we have Wiggins and Kyrie and Dion, and now a coach who's going to stress ball movement, and everybody's getting a lot of touches. I think it may interest him a little bit more, again, depending on what they pay him. And I think he could be a better player in this system under David Blatt. So I'm sure there is interest there both ways, but I wouldn't be surprised, to be completely honest with you. We've heard the Lakers and Phoenix as two potential destinations, and I think he may be leaning, Luol Deng may be leaning that way.
One player that you haven't mentioned yet, Sam, is Jarrett Jack. He was originally speculated to be traded before the draft. What do you think is going to go on now?
Well, I think they're still going to try to trade him. It's just tough with a guard that age and his contract. Once little point guards get on the other side of 30, and I mean he was a journeyman to begin with, but they're going to try to look to move him, I'm sure. I just think that, why? Because he's a nice backup to have, a veteran backup, and he does play hard, so and it's pretty decent in the locker room. So I think that they'll be able to sell him on a few, or teams will be interested in him. Sacramento, I'm pretty sure they came pretty close to trading him to Sacramento now twice, and Sacramento does want a veteran point guard. They're obviously, the Kings, I've heard, are still going to really try to make a run at Rondo. So, if they ended up getting Rondo, then perhaps the Cavs could work that trade with Jarrett Jack and finish that. But there's a chance he could be back, too, if he can't work out a deal.
Sam, when David Griffin went out and got David Blatt, did anything change as far as what players would stay and what players might be on the block?
Not so much. What players would stay, I think, did. I think guys like Spencer Hawes and Deng, who you had a small chance of re-signing, that improved significantly, particularly Spencer Hawes. I know for a fact Spencer Hawes really likes playing with Kyrie Irving. And you look at Spencer Hawes' best games last year, they all came with Kyrie in the lineup. When Kyrie was out injured for a while, Hawes was having, nights where he was 1 of 4 shooting and just wasn't productive. But when Kyrie's in there, he played really well. So I think he likes that playing with Irving. And now that you have a guy who's offensive-minded with Blatt, I think it's more likely that guys in free agency are going to want to stay. And to me, that speaks volumes of the coach and the coaching change. And guys have heard good things about him from their peers. Guys who have played overseas have been saying that Blatt is a nice coach to play for. So I think that, if anything, it's affected it in a positive way as opposed to guys wanting to leave now.
We're talking with Sam Amico of Fox Sports Ohio and foxsportsohio.com. Now, Sam, I did a little bit of our two-parter question right here. Are the Cavs, is Andrew Wiggins completely off the trade block, or are they still dangling for one more, like a superstar player like Kevin Love? And also, is Dion Waiters still on the trade block?
Well, I don't think they're going to be dangling those guys, but I think that they will certainly listen. Waiters, I was told there was a couple of times where a team in the top 10 was offering their pick. The Cavs just didn't want to go that route. I guess they thought Pierce is better than, you wanted more. You wanted a top 10 and a player. But I think, hey, anybody could get traded. I would say Kyrie Irving's not going to get traded, but anybody outside of that, yeah, they certainly will listen. There's certainly the potential during free agency and leading up to the season, all the way up to the start of the season. We saw James Harden a couple years ago get traded the night before the regular season. So if you're a Cavs fan, you have to continue to monitor that because the potential is really there for that type of trade. I don't think they're going to go out and do a Kevin Love type deal. Obviously, they're not going to do that unless they got an assurance from him that he would resign. And we all know, what the reports are about when he'll resign or not. Kevin Love said he'd resign an extension if he came to Cleveland, or if LeBron came to Cleveland, and probably isn't good if LeBron doesn't. So I think you go out there and see if you know what's going on with LeBron first, and that's going to affect how you do business in other areas because you're certainly not going to trade Andrew Wiggins, Deion Waiters, Tristan Thompson and maybe a future first rounder for Kevin Love, who's not saying he'll stick around. So I wouldn't be surprised if they made a smaller trade involving Jarrett Jack and maybe some of those other pieces. If you throw in Karasev, Sergei Karasev. Because the bottom line on guys like that, like Karasev, it's going to be between him or Joe Harris who makes the team. Not both of them are making the team. One of them will. And if they feel like Joe Harris has the edge, they'll throw Karasev in some sort of deal.
And also, let's quickly visit the situation in Miami. A lot of people are really anticipating what LeBron will do. The recent news with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh opting out of their contract, and now they're talking to take less money in order to bring more free agents over to the Miami Heat. What's going on in Miami right now, and what's going on in LeBron's camp?
Well, it sure seems like that what you it's going to go down just how you explained it there with them taking less money to try to rework things and bring in point guard. We've heard Kyle Lowry, a couple other names. So we'll see how that goes. I think, obviously, the way it's being reported is that's what those guys are doing. But I can't believe it. Because when you opt out, you leave yourself open to question. And that's what these guys are doing, And obviously, they know what they're doing. They've already settled it. But, here's the thing. The bottom line is, do you guys really believe, after what happened in these finals, that if you all opt out and get one more guy who is like a Kyle Lowry, do you think that will put you over the top with Dwayne Wade? Personally, if I'm the Miami Heat, I take advantage of the fact Dwayne Wade opted out and try to go get Carmelo Anthony. And thanks, Dwayne. I think those guys put themselves in a precarious position because if you want to give Dwayne Wade $14 million at this point of his career, that to me is being done solely on sentimental reasons. So I don't know. I think here's my thinking behind it. If LeBron opts back in and does all this with Wade and Bosh, and they're still going to be very tight to get somebody else decent in there because of the financial situation, I think LeBron's going to regret it. I really do. And I'm not saying that because I think he should come back to Cleveland. But look at your options. Look at Houston. Look at the Clippers. Look at the Cavs. This Miami's run, at some point you stick around too long. We saw that in Boston with Garnett and those guys. I'd just be very leery if I'm LeBron James and I'm opting back in long term with Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and guys who are on the decline.
Sam, I got another question. Why is it that other teams help the Miami Heat get who they want in drafts? It happened this year again when Charlotte drafted Shabazz Napier for them, and he ended up going to Miami Heat just like LeBron wanted it to happen. It happened with Norris Cole a couple years ago. Just explain why teams in the Eastern Conference are even trying to assist the Miami Heat.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is very frustrating to see that happening, and I'm sure Charlotte did it because they don't think Napier can play in the NBA. That's basically what they're thinking is we'll take this guy. If you get Hairston, we'll make this trade because the Hornets are looking at Shabazz Napier as too small, or Napier as too small and not quick enough, and a lot of scouts are thinking that. So I don't think he's a starting level NBA point guard, but he could turn out to be a Norris Cole type who helps you win. So it's a great question, and I don't know why you would ever make a trade with the Miami Heat based on the fact that this is the most powerful team in the East, and here you are. They want to do something, and you're assisting them. I would, whenever the Miami Heat called, I'd just turn them down right away, and I don't understand that for the Hornets and Michael Jordan. I just don't get it.
Real quick, we were all talking about who our favorite pick was in the draft earlier. I said mine was Julius Randle at number 7 to the Lakers. Who was your favorite pick of the draft?
That would be up there. That's for sure. I like Randle there. If you're talking first round stuff and early lottery, yeah, I think that's a great pick. I think he'll end up being the 4th best guy behind Wiggins and Parker and Embiid. I think Julius Randle, that foot turns out okay. He'll be fantastic. And I'm surprised Boston let him slide by. I had my mock the other way. I had Boston taking him, and the Lakers getting Marcus Smart, who I think is going to be a decent pro, but nothing spectacular. And then, I really like. Was a huge Cle Anthony early fan. I don't get an opportunity to watch much college basketball, but I always tuned in to Wichita State while they were staying undefeated and making that little run to stay undefeated. And I was just really impressed with him. Obviously, went to the second round to the Knicks. So he's a guy I really like. And other than that, I would probably go with Randle myself.
And thank you so much, Sam, for taking the time to interview with us. We greatly appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for having me. I'd be happy to come back anytime and take up whatever I took up, 45 minutes, and not being able to shut up.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sam.
We'll definitely keep in
All
touch.
right,